Okay, that's not right. Sorry. Okay.
Better.
Good.
Do you want to finish? Hi,
Hello and welcome to Creative Living.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Max.
And today we're going to kind of introduce ourselves and what our artistic practices are, what our days look like. That kind of...
Yeah, we're just going to give you a little bit more insight into who we are. We've had someone request it and we thought we'd
share a little
bit. Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Okay. So my practice is writing, so fiction writing. I've written 2 full novels and I'm halfway through my 3rd one. And I tend to write historical fiction because my degree is in medieval studies, specialising in like sex culture, so sex work and medieval porn. It's like a huge mine for story ideas. And I've also, my first book was a YA novel.
A what?
Young adult.
Oh, yeah.
It was fantasy. It took me a long time. It's a really hard genre. I will dabble in it again, but fuck.
Leave it for now.
Yeah, it was really hard. So that's what I do with my days. I'm writing a first draft at the moment. And I'm also doing creative mentorship programs now. So I'm working with people one-on-one so that I can hold space for them as they take their creative journey. Because that was something that I really needed in the first 5 or 6 years of my journey. I needed someone on my team. I needed someone checking in on me emotionally, seeing how I was going, you know, even just holding space for someone so that they can speak about what they're working on is so important, because so often we're very alone in our practice and no one can really understand. We live in a world full of muggles that really can't understand what it is like to write a novel. So I provide space for people to unpack their creative journey, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well put.
Thank you.
So I've got a few different interests. I started out as an actor, so I studied acting for 2.5 years. And I still consider myself an actor. No, I have not been on Home and Away, which is always the next question. But I still do consider myself an actor. That's definitely an aspect of myself that will always be there. And I use it in different areas. I also produce videos. So I started producing last year. I worked at a production company and I'm now doing my own thing. And I'm focusing predominantly on weddings and music videos, and I'm pretty flexible with whatever comes my way. But I'm also a photographer, so that's been something that I've been exploring more this year especially, and I'm really interested in self-portraits, which you can see on my Instagram. And so I'm trying to find my feet there. I'm still, I think, figuring out what my thing is and my style, which is okay, and it's quite exciting, and I'm enjoying the process and trying different things. But I think every time I do a shoot, I'm coming closer to what that is that I'm searching for in that practice. And then on top of it, I'm actually working on starting a YouTube channel. So the actual struggle at the moment, which Amy and I have been talking about a lot, is branding. Because I have struggled to find, I know who I am, but bringing that across is really difficult, because on one level, I'm very spiritual, sensitive, I am quite a deep thinker, and I'm very open-minded, and on another level, I'm grubby, and I swear a lot, and I love to roll around in the dirt, and I've got that other side of me, and I'm finding it really hard to bring those 2 quite different parts of myself together, and finding a way to begin this YouTube channel where both of those parts of myself are being served.
Yeah. It is so hard when you have a platform to make sure that you're being genuine all the time, when every single person is multifaceted and really complex, and making sure that we are always being authentic and always putting ourselves out there, but also still coming under the idea of like branding yourself. It's a really challenging thing to do.
Like actually trying to market who you are.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating process, and one that we are both in at the moment as we try and put ourselves out there more. Yeah, I find exactly the same thing for me. Branding is really hard to make sure that all of the different facets of my personality come across, some of which are completely like opposites to one another, and some of them don't really connect, like walking contradiction.
Yes.
You know, I'm so fiery. I swear a lot as well. Very passionate, very like angry, you know, like fire.
Yeah.
But also like I'm super soft, vulnerable. I cry all the time, you know, and kind of bringing all of this out into my brand. I'm like, and I'll film a video of myself for Instagram or something, and I'll rewatch it, and I'm like, is that me? Like, am I being me enough? Like, what a strange question to ask, but when we constantly produce content that's, you know, got our faces on it, got our personality on it, it's so hard to make sure it is always authentic.
Yeah, and finding ways, like we were talking about, finding different ways to show all of us, even if it's in small things, but just even the way we dress. I mean, I've got beautiful flowy dresses, and I love having my hair out with, you know, like a French panty in my hair kind of thing like you've got. And then other days I just want shorts and a t-shirt, and I'll wear like, you know, thongs or whatever. But we can find a way to channel all of that, so we're serving every aspect of ourselves. And I agree, like I feel like I'm a beautiful contradiction, and I almost want to put that in my bio.
Yeah,
you
should.
Like, it's like beautiful contradiction right here. Like you will see,
and everything.
Yeah,
I'm extremely strong and stubborn, but I'm also super soft and vulnerable. Like I'm it all.
Yeah. And how do you find a way to put that message forward? And you know, I've done a lot of research on, you know, finding your niche and your branding and putting this all into one little package that you can tie with a bow. But I do believe there is a way to have every aspect of you come through in some small way. You don't have to, I believe you don't have to just put yourself in the spiritual hippie section or the angry opinionated section, or you know, that there is a way to have all of you come through, because otherwise it's not long term. It's not a long term thing if you can only feel you can
share one little
one section of yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I feel that on Inspired to Write, on my Instagram platform, I'm so intentional on being vulnerable, but often only one side comes out of me. So like I love, and I feel it's really important to share when I'm having either issues with submissions or I'm struggling with my draft, because these are the things that aren't spoken about. So it's important to share them. But I find after a while, it looks like I'm just like fucking losing my shit all the time, when really I'm a very capable writer, and I'm a very good teacher, and I know a lot, I have a lot to share. But then I'm like, on my Instagram, it looks like I'm having an eternal crisis. And people should be very worried about me. Because I'm sharing so much of my softness, and I'm sharing so much of my vulnerability, making sure that no one feels alone. But I have to remember to make sure that I remind people that I'm extremely capable. I'm very bright.
You still know your shit.
I know my shit. And keeping that balance is hard as well.
Yeah. But it's funny also, because I find I'm also very aware of how I come across. Often people think I'm a lot younger than I am.
Really?
Yeah, I get ID'd all the time.
Oh, baby.
I know. It's a constant thing that I get. And I think often my curiosity and my openness can come across like I'm not sure. And there's a big difference with me being open to new possibilities and unsure. And I find people will try and tell me things and give me advice on things that I know a lot about, but they, I don't know, seem to think that I don't know what the fuck's going on, and that's not who I am. And that's also something that I'm aware of with branding. Like, what is that aspect of myself that might be coming across like I'm not like as aware as I am about certain topics. Like with producing videos, like I know my shit, and I get people giving me film advice on like for example, I shot a music video last year, and on the day not the artist, but their producer was trying to give me advice on like where's the good lighting for
Damn.
the shoot, and I was like, what part of me is coming
giving
across that you think that I need advice when I'm literally holding the camera?
Was he a dude?
He was a dude. I love dudes, but seriously, sometimes some of them.
Some dudes.
Some dudes.
That's really hard.
Yeah, and
I think that's very specific
bits.
as well to being in an artistic industry. Is like people love to knowledge dump on other people. And if you, especially if you choose to be vulnerable in public spaces, and if you choose to be honest about the journey, and then you're going to get people talking down to you.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that a lot. In fact, it's been a hard, like last week, just got an onslaught of people who felt like I really needed advice. And it really hurts. I find it super uncomfortable. First of all, I didn't ask you for advice. I'm just sharing my story. I'm just letting you know that this is where I'm in my journey. And you choose to like, it's patronizing, and just like, it makes me feel very small when people do that, when they hold me with advice, just because I choose to be vulnerable online. And I think it's a new thing because we have the platform now to be vulnerable, and it's not something that's really happened in the past, where art was all about the end product and nobody saw the behind the scenes. Like it's very new to see the behind the scenes of what an artist is doing.
Yeah. And the emotional journey.
Yeah, but it's always been hard and big and beautiful and everything all at once.
Yeah.
It's just that we only really are talking about the process of art now. We're only really seeing artists sharing their process now because we have platforms too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not a sign that
I need help.
That you need help, or that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean,
it's almost like the more that you can be vulnerable and the more that you can talk about it, probably the more capable you are. Because you're comfortable, comfortable enough to actually share this stuff. Yeah. I think the most incredible thing, and the definition of an artist, is that you're showing your vulnerability in some way.
Yeah.
And I think some people, maybe there's hot buttons that are being pressed for them.
Yeah.
They're usually the ones that put it on you. Like they're the ones that are feeling like less than or angry in some way that you're doing it and they don't feel they can.
That's a really good point. Like the other day I got a message, like unsolicited advice, after I was talking about how much I want to be published, how much I want my work to make money, which is a huge hotspot for people. It fucking triggers people everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And hello! Oh honey, come under the chair.
It's Frodo.
Come here.
He wants to share his
There
advice.
you go. And I got many messages from people, particularly people older than me, who were like, you know, I wrote all my life and I never got published. Like, you just need to have a more realistic approach of what this is going to be, otherwise you're going to end up disappointed. It's like just shoving this narrative at me of like, it's very hard to get published, and it's like, I know.
Yeah. I'm well aware, in fact.
And that happens quite frequently to me when we speak openly about our dreams and vulnerably about what we want and desire, especially anything related to art and finances.
Oh, it makes people so uncomfortable.
You're gonna get back in your face.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like personal attacks sometimes, or just, the unsolicited advice is just
ridiculous.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and the sad thing is it often comes from a space of bitterness from other people because they don't feel like they've been able to do it. Or they haven't been able to do it. And I understand that, like, super painful, super unfortunate situation, but like, we need to talk about how we want our art to make money. Like, it's not a taboo thing.
It's not. And it is personality. I do believe that when you love someone's art, you often fall in love with the artist. And so it is about sharing, and it is about showing the journey up till that point of whatever that creation is.
Totally.
Whether it's the book or the painting or the film, it's the journey that people are often really interested in, and
we have the opportunity to share, and anybody does. It's so cool.
It is so cool.
I completely agree, and I've been reading. I'm giving this to you. I've been reading Austin Kleon's Show Your Work. I'm sure some of you have seen it on my Instagram. It sounds really like gloaty. Anyway, Austin Kleon speaks about the importance of showing the process, the behind the scenes of art, because this is how people are finding their art now, because they're finding it through connections with the artist. And he shares some amazing information and just like how you can put yourself out there and like always sharing the behind the scenes, the process of your work, because that's what no one's ever seen this before. We're in an age where we can finally see the behind the scenes of the art, and it's super interesting. So that's got to be a part of like what we show now, and not just what we show, but like a part of our identities. Like yesterday I shared this page and it just struck me to the core. About talking about what we do with other people, and sharing our work verbally with others and with our family and friends. And when someone asks you what you do, and we've spoken about this a lot, like I hate it so much when someone asks me what I do. I just want to shy away. But he talks about being like, this is your time. Like, you have to own it now. This is your brand. This is who you are. This is everything. So when someone asks you what you do, you can't be like, and like I lie all the time.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's so hard, but like I really want to get better at this. Is he's like, this is your time to show your work. This is your time to speak about what you do honestly. And he talks about how often when you say, oh, I'm a writer, and then pretty much 90% of the time the next question you get, oh, are you published? And then you have to be like, no. And then you have to go further than that and talk about your work, what you're doing, and owning it, like owning your story of being unpublished. Super powerful, very hard to do.
It is really hard to do, and also just giving yourself the respect that you're an artist before anyone else gives you that title. Like, you give yourself that credit.
Exactly.
It's so important.
Calling yourself artist.
And that is
So
a part
powerful.
of branding, is like owning that. And yeah, personality is a really, really big part of that, but just owning that this is who you are. And for the longest time, I shied away from getting paid for anything like that I did creatively. I was just terrified of getting paid, because then suddenly it was like, oh shit, like what if I fuck up? Or
it's risky.
Yeah, but now it's actually going, no, like I deserve to get paid for that. No, I deserve to get paid for this, and like being like comfortable. And I'm still working on that, but just becoming
I'm sure it'll be a journey we take all our lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe just think about your branding. I mean, we are brainstorming, and and just telling you now, it's not like a day thing. It's like a lifetime thing. And I can already see how mine's going to change. But trying to find strategies and ways to bring all of you into it, so it's a long-term journey, not a...
And so that you feel like you're celebrating you.
Yeah.
And like that your brand and your art is a celebration of who you are.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't have tea today. I had coffee.
And I poured coffee into my tea.
Oh, jeez, it was a hot mess.